Joining me on the broadcast to give us his insights into the crisis is Major Mohammed Ali Shah. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, now the aggression is now shifting focus to Lviv now. Your reaction, when can we see an end to this crisis?
See, it will only end when USA wants it. There is no other way. I mean, I see as long as USA keeps supplying strength and support to Ukraine with the means of NATO helping with equipment, weapons, I see right now Ukraine does not need the bullets. They have the fighting spirit, agreed, and we respect that. And they are going to fight till the last man, last bullet, last breath. But that will not bring peace. The standing ovation that President Zelensky is getting in the West for addressing the Congress, Parliament and other such things will not bring peace. What they need to understand is President Putin, of course, I mean, see, two wrongs do not make a right. Two wrongs make a further wrong. And if we sit down and analyze and we see, peace has to prevail at any cost. It has to come. And the only way is through talks, and US would continue supporting Ukraine. Now President Joe Biden was in Poland. I'll give you a very logical explanation. If we are going to Bombay for some work and there's somebody in Pune who needs our help desperately, do you think we go to Bombay and that person would not meet us? It's common sense. Of course that person will make all efforts to come from Pune and meet us, or we would go midway to Lonavala, Khandala or somewhere. So US is actually further provoking and pushing forward Ukraine. And the only way it can come to an end is when President Joe Biden wants it. Because America's stance at this time should be neutral. But it is not neutral, unfortunately. Because America heads UNO in a way, it also heads NATO in a way. And the whole responsibility, the whole job of UN is to ensure that a third world war does not take place. Agreed. And NATO have been constantly expanding further eastwards. So at the end of the day, it was very simple. Making two blood brothers fight, and I think it's rather unfair. So how will the war end? It would not end in this way. It would continue on, and it's a long-drawn procedure. Who is benefiting from it ultimately? America. The arms dealing business will also flourish. China is benefiting, which is also an adversary of America. So it is a very, very complex situation. And let me tell you, the threats that President Putin has given to America about going nuclear should be taken seriously. It is not empty threats. We all are optimists. We all hope for the best. We all think that, no, a war between Russia and Ukraine is impossible. A day before the war, we were all talking about, it's all posturing going on, it's hybrid warfare. And I don't think that Russia is going to attack Ukraine. But ultimately, the attack did happen, right? The war did happen, and we all were anticipating, 4 days. It's been over a month plus now. War is still on. Will it lead to a third world war? Oh, no, I don't think. It's very easy to say, being optimist, that it will not go nuclear. It will not lead to a third world war. But if you take out the patterns in history, they say history repeats itself. Similar pattern was followed in the First World War. A similar pattern was followed in the Second World War. In the Gulf War in the 90s, it didn't lead to a world war, thankfully, because it was very different at that time.
All right.
Sorry.
There are also updates coming in that US has announced that they will be accepting over 1 lakh Ukrainian refugees. US President Joe Biden said via Twitter on March 26 that the people of Ukraine can count on the United States to meet its responsibility to help Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, now US extends hand and they have said that they will be accepting over 1 lakh refugees. Your reaction to this? Do you think that with Biden making comments on Putin and he's now saying that they will be accepting Ukrainian refugees, there is a start of a Cold War. We are in middle of a Cold War. Does it bring back flashback?
It certainly does bring back a lot of flashbacks, and I would call it Cold War II also in a way. It is supposing two people are not talking and they are fighting, and we often find that it's a Cold War that we will not talk. So it is, I would call it already a Cold War II in a lot of ways. And even we bring back the flashback of, in the year 1983, the Britain's Queen Elizabeth, she had written a letter at that time, and which was made public in the year 2013, where she described the horrors of the Second World War. And she feared that a Third World War should not come. So yes, it does bring a lot of, there is a lot in common over here. And only thing, it was only a Cold War. If you see again the Afghan-Russian war, which happened again.
All right.
That time, America made use of the Afghans. They prepared a force over there called the Mujahids, and to fight against the Russians for their benefit. So it was a proxy war being fought over there. Same thing, exactly the same thing that the Americans have done over here. They made use of Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are going and fighting over there. And they, now, when you talk about a force as the Mujahids, who were again civilians, and a fighting force was developed. Similarly, in Ukraine, the civilians have been given weapons. So now, and
all right,
the West
Major
is
Mohammed
funding
Ali Shah,
them.
unfortunately, I'm short of time. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your views on this crisis.